What's up, everybody? Welcome into More Sports, driven by the Crane Automotive team. I'm Wes Moore. Glad you're with us. 1 week from now, high school football. 2 weeks in a day, we got Razorback football. We're getting closer and closer. In fact, tomorrow, huge scrimmage for the Razorbacks. For some of them, maybe their biggest scrimmage. We're going to talk some Razorback football right now.
All Arkansas, all sports. It's More Sports, driven by the Crane Automotive team.
No practice today for the Razorbacks. They got a probably much needed day off, but a big scrimmage tomorrow. And in my opinion, this scrimmage is going to go a long way and maybe will be the final nail in the coffin to help decide who is going to be the starting quarterback for the Razorbacks this season. Is it going to be AJ or KJ? I believe, and I've said it before on here, I'll say it again. I think after this scrimmage, they go back and watch the tape. They grade the quarterbacks. They sit down, have a powwow, and Coach Silverfield makes a decision. And I believe, my guess, maybe I'm hoping so we can get this and put it away, put it to bed, put it to the side and move on. My guess is we'll find out Sunday night after the scrimmage when Coach Silverfield has his press conference. It makes a lot of sense. You know, Monday he's going to be at the Little Rock Touchdown Club. And by the way, if you want to go see him at the Little Rock Touchdown Club, they tweeted out today, very few tickets remain. You need to go get those tickets now at the Little Rock Touchdown Club website. But it would give him a chance to talk about the starting quarterback. More importantly, it gives that starting quarterback the knowledge that he is the guy. The team knows he's the guy. They start working together as that first unit, not having to split reps for the next 2 weeks. It gives him a full 2 weeks to get ready for the North Alabama game and the Utah game. No doubt about it. They're preparing for Utah now too. They don't have to spend a lot of time practicing for North Alabama, but it gives that quarterback, whoever it's going to be, a solid 2 weeks of knowing he is the guy and start taking over ownership if he hasn't already. But it's nice to hear that starting quarterback hear his name and know he's going to be the guy leading the team. So I think it will happen Sunday night. If it does, no promises. May have a little bonus show Sunday night just so we can talk about, maybe go live Sunday night and take your comments and questions and make it a Sunday night thing. I don't have no idea what my weekend has in store. But that's a possibility. Maybe do a little Sunday night show. Hey, coming up on this show in a bit, we've got Kevin Bohanon from hogsports.com. Always enjoy having K-Bo on here to talk about the Razorbacks and just get his thoughts on maybe the strength of the team, what he believes in the most. We'll hit on some of those things with K-Bo here in just a few minutes. Real quick, I want to thank the Crane Automotive team. They are the title sponsor. If you're looking for a vehicle, please shop Crane first. Give them an opportunity. Since they support me, they mean so much to me. Please go to them first. Tell them Wes Moore sent you. Crane Automotive team helps keep Arkansas moving with 16 different locations around the state and a wide selection of cars, trucks, and SUVs. It's easy to find the right vehicle close to home. And every vehicle is backed by the Crane commitment, giving you confidence long after you drive off the lot. Visit craneteam.com. Centennial Bank sponsors the ticker, strength, consistency, and a commitment to building trust. That is Centennial Bank. For generations, Arkansans have relied on Centennial Bank for steady guidance, local decision-making, and financial solutions that stand the test of time. Discover the strength of a bank that believes trust is earned every day. Visit my100bank.com or stop by your local Centennial Bank. If you're looking for security for your home or your business, I highly recommend A-Plus Alarm and Security Services. I've been using them for 20 years. They deliver reliable protection you can count on. They truly are the key to peace of mind. Call them at 851-7587 or visit aplusalarm.net. Let's welcome in tonight's guest, Kevin Bohanon from hogsports.com. Joined us. K-Bo, welcome in. It's hard to think in 1 week we'll be watching high school football. In 15 days, finally, we'll have Razorback football.
Yeah, it's down to where we can actually have a countdown for it, and I appreciate you having me on, Wes. It's been a minute. But, yeah, now that baseball's over with, we've had the draft. We're fully into football swing right now, and I know I was working on 3A rankings this morning for Hootens.com and looking forward to some big matchups next week, and we've already had some benefit games. PA put it to Maumelle the other night. I believe the final was 50-7. The first half, Pulaski Academy just dominated. Greenwood hasn't missed a beat with Kane Archer gone out west. They defeated Fayetteville 37-21. So a lot to look forward to. New names and new faces. I think we had 63 head coaches in high school football. 63 schools have a new coach this year.
Wow. All right, Cabo, let's talk about the Razorbacks. How happy will you be when you finally hear who the starting quarterback is going to be?
I'll be happy when the team can get behind it. And I think the team knows. We've been pushing. It's going to be KJ Jackson all along, even though yesterday they were off on Friday. But when in practice 13, it was AJ Hill that went out with the first team and did pretty good. I just think that KJ Jackson's going to be the guy. I believe that Ryan Silverfield on Sunday evening when he meets with the media, they're going to have a scrimmage on Saturday. They practice at 4:00 on Sunday afternoon, and then he'll meet with the media around 6. I believe that he will announce his starting quarterback at that point because you want to go into your last 2 weeks knowing who the guy is. Now, the key is it's North Alabama. So both guys are going to play. They're going to get those guys as many game reps as possible to continue to push these guys. The biggest thing that Ryan Silverfield wanted was accountability when he came here and the lack of complacency. Even though a 2-10 team can get complacent based on not being able to push yourself. I know there was a viral video going around and people were talking about him checking on kids going to class. That's not a terrible thing. It's kind of corny and kind of goofy. Yeah. And the way he comes off, sometimes it may be like that, but it's just about accountability and those kids being accountable. So pushing each other and having those type of competitions. And, they've talked about the wide receivers and how many of those guys are out there. They've brought in 2 defensive backs over the past week. One of those, of course, Caleb Wooden played for the Razorbacks last year. So no player can really get complacent because there's always going to be somebody right there on their heels.
Cabo, I looked on the roster. They're no longer on the roster. He and Sean Williams. I wonder if the Colorado ruling and the NCAA affected them.
Yeah, so if you haven't heard, there was they stayed the circuit court out of Colorado. They stayed the NCAA's ruling, so it reversed everything. So for those guys in the 2022 class, that was at the federal level. Okay, so if there were some that filed a restraining order out of the district court in Louisiana, they may still be able to play. We don't know. We'll find out more. Neither one of them are going to be able to scrimmage on Saturday, so we'll find out a little bit more when we're able to talk to the coaches.
Yeah, the statewide TROs that are out there are still okay, but NCAA said that's next. They're going after those statewide TROs, so it's a mess. It is a complete debacle right now, and no one knows. It's just everything's so much up in the air when you think about everything. All right, what do you feel best about? 2 weeks to go. What do you feel better about, offense or defense?
Defense. And I'm an offensive guy by nature. I was an offensive coordinator, played quarterback, so I've always been on the offensive side. Now, even though the defense gave up too many explosive plays last week, I believe the experience, and I think it's because of the question mark at quarterback. Because you've got Braylon Russell, you've got Sutton Smith, who's going to be healthy. You've got receivers out there. You've got a good line up there. So I just feel like the experience in the bigger games, especially, the back seven, along with Quincy Rhodes up front, I just feel better about the defense taking the bigger step. And I guess that's part of the reason I say that's because offense last year was pretty good outside of taking care of the football. They were a top 10 offense, points, passing yards, rushing, it didn't matter. But the defense, how far they have to come for Arkansas to get to 5, possibly 6 wins this season, I feel better about the defense coming into the first part of the season. I want to see Ron Roberts and his multiple defense. They're not going to show everything against North Alabama. We know that from the media standpoint, but I like what they're doing out there. I like the way they're flying to the football. And there was a little Oklahoma drill that I saw that was on X from the Arkansas Razorbacks social media account. And they were tackling. That's the thing that I love to see is those guys wrapping up and putting a little thud in there.
Offensively, what position do you feel the best about? Like you can count on?
Running back. And that's even with a guy like Sutton Smith, who's been so far a gadget guy. You know, he don't have a little over 100 yards last year, 100 carries last year. He had over 600 yards. But he hasn't been counted on to be that every down back. But he doesn't have to. Braylon Russell hasn't finished the last 2 years. But I say that because those guys have worked harder than just about anybody else. And I think the running back room is deep. You know, what Markellian Bratton did last weekend, then you got Cam Settles, Jasper Parker. TJ Hodges is just going to sit there and redshirt this year. We thought he may be able to get a carry or two every now and then, but he's not going to redshirt because they got the 5-year rule. But he may not get many reps this year because of the 4 or 5 in front of him. And that's a good thing. And David Johnson has proven in the past, especially at Florida State, he likes to rotate those guys so you can ride the hot hand and keep those guys, you know, really comfortable. It was great seeing Chris Marshall do what he did last week, but we have to see it on a week in, week out basis. The wide receiver room needs more consistency. I want to see those guys really separate themselves. I want to see, we've said there's 9 all along. They really need to separate themselves. I want to see about 4 or 5 guys really prove that they're going to be the guys that KJ Jackson or AJ Hill can go to at any point in the game. There's going to be a lot of stuff that's horizontal in this offense. Fans need to get ready. It's going to be a lot of dink, dunk, and then they can stretch the field a little bit. Expect a lot of that. It's going to be a lot of quick stuff. It may be boring at first, but you're going to get to see some of these playmakers and if they can make a play in week 1.
Yeah, I agree with you on the running backs because wide receiver, you got the caveat about the quarterback. Can he get the ball to them? Does he make the right read? Does he make a good throw to get the ball to them? And it's the same thing with the running backs because they depend on the offensive line. I saw Sutton Smith in his press conference earlier this week, and I texted him. I was like, dude, how much weight have you put on? Because he looked bigger than Braylon up top.
Yeah.
And I know Braylon down low, and Braylon's a taller guy, and he looked jacked. You know, Sutton was on with me every week during the spring, and that was the first time I'd seen him video-wise in a while. And he said he put on 4 or 5 pounds of muscle since the spring, and it showed, man. His upper body, his arms, he was significantly bigger up top.
Yeah, and I think he wanted to do that to make sure he's better in between the tackles. It's a zone running game, so you can't just rely on outside zone. You got to be able to run between the tackles, and if they can rely on Sutton Smith to do that, it just makes the backfield better because he still has the breakaway speed. He still can get up to 22, 23 miles per hour. He can be that home run threat that Arkansas needs, and I think that's even better for him because he's made himself better. Now, staying healthy, he's had a little lingering lower half injury, but it's not been anything big. Coach Silverfield said that he would be out there if they needed to play this Saturday. He would be on the field and be 100%. And I kept asking Trey because in the viewing periods, he's never in the team periods or everything. They've kept him out. Everything, they know what Sutton Smith can do, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I always believe that this offense can use a tight end, and Jaden Platt, as good as he has looked, I don't want to leave those guys out. Jaden Platt looks really good. I think in his first year out of Bobby Petrino's offense and how they can use the tight end in Tim Cramsey's offense, it's going to be a really big season for him. They need somebody like Lockwood or possibly Adcock to step up as well. But Jaden Platt could be a big part of this offense.
How about the offensive line? Are you good? You feel comfortable with those guys? They're going to be able to open up the holes, protect?
Yeah, I think they retooled and rebuilt it to where it's a good offensive line for the zone running scheme that Cramsey likes to do. And I say that because last year they were big and kind of long. You had Shaq. You had some guys that were 6'8", really big. They still got some big boys up there, but they move a little bit better. That's the thing that I've noticed in film and watching everything from the spring to the fall camp in the last couple of days is those guys move really well in short bursts and short periods. So it's not like they need to run a 40-yard dash, but can they get to that next level and, open up those creases for the running backs? Because with Russell, and Smith and Bratton for that matter, they've worked on their vision. If offensive linemen can create those lanes a little bit better it helps the running back vision to see, okay, I can make this cut back and go. That's the key to a zone running scheme, is creating lanes. And if you don't get too bunched up and can get to that next level, it helps out a lot. I believe having Caden Kittler right in the middle of it as a fifth-year guy, he was represented at SEC Media Days. It's all going to go through him. He's going to be calling out the protections. He's going to be calling out where to go on just every play that they see. He's the key to making that offensive line go really well. I want to see that the one place I'm going to be watching is left tackle. You know, is it Kavion Broussard? Is he going to be the guy out there? That's the one that I'm really looking for. You know, is it going to be him? Is it going to be, you know, who else do they got over there? Josiah Clemens. He's a big one. He's 6'7", 341. We talk about big guys, but he doesn't look like a fat 340. He's a big guy. He moves well. What's Terrence Roberson going to do coming from OBU? Is he going to push Malachi Breland right there at that guard position on the left side?
You know, I'm sure you get the question every day, just like I do. How many wins is Arkansas going to get? And I always tell them, can you tell me how good KJ or AJ is going to be? If they're going to be an above average SEC quarterback, I think they can win 6 games.
Yeah.
But I have no idea. Is the quarterback, no matter who it is, the X factor on this team?
I believe it is, because the defense is going to be markedly improved. I mean, you can't get much worse than what it was last year. So they're going to have the pieces on defense to where they give themselves a chance. It's not going to bend, don't break defense to where you just let them go, and hope you stop them and hold them to a field goal. They're going to attack. And I believe Quincy Rhodes came back for that reason, to show what he can do in a defense that's led by somebody like Ron Roberts. So they have enough pieces to keep teams down, I believe, on defense. And there's been so much talk about, you know, why Arkansas is going to be as bad as they are. But there's a lot of people that just look back to what they did in 2-10 last year. But there's 65 new scholarship guys on this field. So there is a lot of unknown. But from what we've seen and what we can say, yeah, I believe they will win more than 2 games. Now, will they get to 6? That's the million-dollar question. Is KJ Jackson going to be that guy, or AJ Hill, that can, you know, get his team in position to score, and not just score field goals, but they need to score touchdowns. You score field goals, you lose in the SEC. But I feel if he plays above average, they do get to 5, possibly 6 wins. It breaks out down the stretch, and I heard you talk about it this afternoon on the radio, to where you could possibly win 2 or 3 in that back half down the stretch if things work out right.
Yeah, the middle part of the schedule with Tennessee, and then you go to Nashville to play Vanderbilt, come back home after a bye week to play Missouri, go to Auburn, and then come back home and play South Carolina.
Those 4.
None of those games are impossible. Right. You know, I mean, you have a legitimate shot of winning those games. So, you know, I think you got to win 2 of those 5. And if you go and win 3 of those 5, and you've already got 2 wins earlier in the season, yeah, that's a recipe for 5. And maybe they're playing LSU the last game of the season for a chance to go to a bowl game.
Yeah, and we've seen that before. I remember, you know, Bobby Petrino's first year in 2008, they were, you know, really close going into that last game. That was Miracle on Markham too, with London Crawford in the corner down there. But they fell on the short a little bit too much earlier in that season. And we don't know what – we'll get an idea when they go to Utah. In Utah, I read an article the other day. They were talking about overrated teams. They feel like Utah's a little overrated. They do got some key pieces back, but they lost a lot to the transfer portal. And when Kyle Whittingham jumped ship and went to Michigan. So those teams right there, it'll be really telling what happens and the trajectory that both of them can do. And we've talked about this before, Wes. That's a critical game because of what happens next. If you lose a close game right there, you feel like you can come back home and possibly hang on to Georgia for a little bit. But if you get your brakes blown off, it could be like it was last year, unfortunately, after that Memphis game, and it just goes downhill from there.
Okay, Bo, thanks, man. It's always a pleasure having you on.
Yep.
Have a great weekend.
Looking forward to a great season. Thanks, Wes.
Arkansas, the natural state. We love being outside. Whether you're fishing, hunting, hiking a mountain, or having a day on the lake, the Crane team helps you get there with a great selection of trucks and SUVs.
New full-size four-wheel drive crew cabs like F-150, Sierras, and Silverados are discounted up to $13,000 off. And you can get interest rates as low as 0% on a great selection.
Let the Crane team help you get outside and enjoy our beautiful state. Visit us today at craneteam.com.
Strength isn't built by chance. It's built step by step, choice by choice. At Centennial Bank, we believe it's the everyday actions, done with care, done consistently, that lay the foundation for something greater. That's how we build trust. That's how we build strength. Let us help you create a strong financial game plan. When we work together, we win together. Centennial Bank, member FDIC.
I think that is a great topic. With what we know right now, do you have more faith in the offense or the defense? Hit me up on the discussion on YouTube or on Facebook or Twitter. We'll talk more about that on Monday and read some of your. I think I have more faith in the offense. I think I do, and maybe it's just after watching so many games last year with the defense. I'm not bought in yet, but I love the pieces that they've added on defense. I guess I'm taking more of a I got to see it first before I believe it type scenario. Couple of news today, couple of notes to talk about. First, let's get the bad news out of the way. I don't want to finish on a bad note. Bad news for Razorback baseball season ticket holders. They announced today on a Friday, kind of a you hate getting hit with bad news on a Friday. The Razorbacks have announced a comprehensive reseeding process for Baum-Walker Stadium again. It's the second time this decade. Basically, season ticket holders are going to be asked to donate more money to get those tickets at different levels. You may not get your same seats. That sucks. And then season ticket prices are going up a little bit. So it's going to cost more to go and watch Razorback baseball if you're a season ticket holder. I know there are those that are trying to get season tickets, and they hope some of these people decide not to renew so they can finally get into Baum-Walker Stadium and get season tickets. But for those that have been doing it for years, it just blows. It does. I'm sorry. But that's the day and age we live in. They got to make more money. Everything's costing more, whether it's travel, food, salaries, and everything is costing more in college athletics. And now it's being passed on to the fans. And at some point, fans will break and say, I'm done. I'm not going to have season tickets. But that was announced today. Matt Jones, WholeHogSports.com, Arkansas Democrat-Gazette, did a fantastic job of writing this up. If you want all the details, head over there and check out Matt's story. All right, on the bright side, we now know, we've talked about it on here, and it's been well discussed. Arkansas and Virginia are going to play November 8th, noon start on ESPN. And I was like, oh, okay. We got a double hitter. Who's Arkansas playing in football that day? Then I looked at the calendar. November 8th is a Sunday. So we got Arkansas at Auburn football on Saturday, then Arkansas, Virginia in Washington, D.C., the first time they've ever played in Washington, D.C., by the way, starting at noon on ESPN. It is the Capital Showcase. And Arkansas and Virginia haven't played in a long time. I was looking at the list that they put out. 1998 is the last time Arkansas and Virginia played. Arkansas beat them in the top of the world shootout in Fairbanks in 98. 95, Arkansas beat Virginia, go to the Elite Eight, or in the Elite Eight to go to the Final Four. Virginia had won 3 of the 4 matchups before that, but Arkansas has won the last 2. I looked it up, Cowboys fans. We're going to have to go to a sports bar. You're going to have 2 TVs going at once. You're going to have to do picture-in-picture because the Cowboys play at Indianapolis at noon on Sunday, November the 8th. So we're going to have the Cowboys and the Razorbacks going on at the same time. Big game, though. Top 15 matchup at least, at the very worst. I think Arkansas is a top 15 in the NCAA preseason rankings. John Rothstein has Virginia number 8 in his rankings right now. And I think Arkansas is just outside the top 10. But a big-time matchup. Great test for Arkansas early in the season. All right, that's going to do it for tonight. Thank you for watching. Hope you liked this video. If you did, hit that thumbs up on YouTube. It really helps get the video out, and it pushes it to other people. Subscribe on YouTube. Doesn't cost anything. Just subscribe. Turn on your notifications, and you know when there's another More Sports video. And you'll want to know because maybe we do one Sunday night if Coach Silverfield decides who the next quarterback is for next season. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a great weekend, and we'll see you next time for More Sports.
Arkansas, all sports. It's more sports, driven by the Crane Automotive Team.